Welcome back to another episode of Work It, Live It, Own It. This is a special bonus episode. Today, we are going to be diving into what happens when your spouse, your partner, or whomever your special loved one is, doesn't understand your journey through the success paradox. Now, a lot of people don't understand what that term success paradox means. What that means is the hidden pain of a picture perfect life. You've checked off so many things on your list of what society has expected you to do, like get the nice job, get the financial security, get the house, get the 2.5 kids, which is typically what they call the American dream. But in other cultures and societies, your picture perfect life may look different and it may come with other familial or societal expectations. And you've checked off all those boxes. But in a quiet moment in the back of your mind, it could be on your commute, could be while you're taking your downtime, reading, taking a shower even, something is nagging you and saying, is this all there is to my life? There's got to be more. And we talked about the difference between assigned priorities and authentic priorities in the last episode. So I encourage you to check out that episode entitled The Hidden Pain of a Picture Perfect Life. But as promised, in this particular bonus episode, we are going to be delving into what happens when your partner doesn't understand this journey that you're going through. And so this episode is going to help provide a solution on how to communicate that personal awakening that you feel to your loved one in a way that builds trust and connection that leads to transformation from lonely misalignment to a shared journey. Because this is what it's all about. And this is where the real work begins in our everyday lives. This isn't just about you having a personal awakening, especially if you are married or you have kids. It's about feeling like you're having it all alone in your own home. And we're going to help you today to have a conversation with your loved ones to make sure that they are on this journey with you and they don't feel left behind. All right. So, first and foremost, what I want to say to you is I see you and I understand you. I've been there and I know that feeling of trying to explain a shift that's happening in your soul, in your mind, to a person that you love most, only to be met with a blank stare. Like they just don't get it. And it's not just confusing, but it's also heartbreaking. And it can make you question, am I crazy? Am I the only one that's feeling this way? But what if that conversation that you had, the one that you could be dreading or the one that you tried and it didn't go well, could be a doorway to a deeper, more honest connection? And what if you could transform that disconnect into a shared journey? That's what we're going to talk about today. And so I'm going to give you some solutions to navigate this conversation with grace so you can build a bridge and not a wall. Now, listen, I've tried so many times with my husband and I have failed miserably. And you know, the ironic thing is, I majored in college in communication. So you would think I would know how to effectively communicate with the person that's closest to me on the face of this earth. But bump, womp womp. Nope. I failed so many times doing this. But I have learned to not give up, to practice, to keep trying, and actually listen to my husband when he says it would have been better if you said it this way, because that's what communication is all about. Learning to effectively communicate in a way that they understand. But please don't tell my husband that because he'll be like, see, I told you so. But I digress. Listen, let's start off by naming the problem, okay? When you're feeling this deep restlessness, and when you try to talk to your spouse and they say things like, but we have everything we wanted, why aren't you happy? From their perspective, you're suddenly changing the rules of the game that you both agreed to play or to walk on. And that feels threatening to them. And so here's something that I want you to hold on to. Their confusion is a reflection of their commitment to the life you built together. It is not a rejection of you. It is the fear of losing what they cherish. And when you can see their fear through that lens, it softens everything. Now, why does this happen? The reason that you've hit the edge of the map first, or you are further along in your life journey than your spouse is right now, is because you've completed the script society has given you, and you're realizing it's not your story anymore. Your spouse or your partner, whatever you choose to call them, is likely still operating from that shared script. And let's just be honest, it's a good script. It promised security and happiness. So when you start to deviate, it's natural for them to begin to worry. And the key is to show them you're not throwing the book away, you're not throwing the entire script away. You're just ready to write the next chapter, and you want them to be the co author. So let me give you an example. Let's name them Rachel and Mark for the purpose of this conversation. When Rachel vaguely says, I don't know if this is what I want anymore, Mark heard an accusation. He heard, you're not enough. So imagine if Rachel had approached it differently. Imagine she sat down and said, I am so proud of the life we've built. And because I trust us so much, I want to be honest about something I'm feeling. I'm realizing in the next chapter of my career, it needs to feel different. And I'm not even sure what that looks like yet. I don't want to figure it out alone. I want to figure it out with you. See the difference? The first approach, by just saying, I don't know if this is what I want anymore, created a wall. But the second option actually opens the door by saying, hey, I'm happy and I'm proud of the life we built together. And I trust us as a team so much. I just want to be honest about what I'm feeling. And even stating the fact that you're uncertain. You're ready for a change. You're ready for a new chapter, but you're uncertain about how to go about it, what it's going to look like. But you want them to help you figure it out. Again, that opens the door for more dialogue, more conversation. So, how do we turn this into a practical solution that you can use? I want you to take this into 4 steps to transform this conversation. So, let's break down that transformation conversation that I just gave you. 1, I want you to anchor both of you in a place of safety. I want you to start off by stating what is not changing. Think about what Rachel said. I love you. I am committed to us. Nothing is wrong with our foundation. My love for you is the reason I can even explore these new feelings safely now. The second part is be specific, not vague. Instead of saying, I'm unhappy, try saying, you know what? I've noticed I feel most energized when I'm mentoring my team, and I want to find more ways to do that. Specific and manageable is great, but being vague is terrifying because, as you know, a lot of people, despite the fact that we have to be adaptable and flexible on our jobs, we do resist to change. Because if a life you built with your spouse is built on safety and financial security and contentment and happiness, when you start off by saying, I'm unhappy, that is shaking their foundation as well. Next, I want you to, instead of looking at it as a me problem, frame it as a we problem. You're a team. You are teammates, you're co-pilots, you're ride or die, however you want to call yourselves. For me, it is team Blair in my household. So this is the most important piece of advice that I can share with you. Not stating that it's my problem that you need to deal with, but instead saying in our next chapter, this is what I want us to design together. Use language like, what do we want in the next 5 years to feel like? Where do we see our lives in the next 5 years? How do we want to feel? Do we want better well being? Do we want more time? Do we want more flexibility in our schedule? Do we want more room to travel to the places that we've never been? Do I still just want to get up and do this long commute every single day? Or do I want more purpose and more meaning and intention in my life? I'm not sure what that looks like for us. I would love to sit down and talk and see what that looks like for us in the future. And then lastly is release the outcome, because your only goal for the first conversation, and notice I said the first conversation, because it's going to take more than just one conversation. This is not a one and done. The first conversation is just to plant a seed and not to harvest the entire solution. And you can end the conversation, the initial conversation with, I don't have an answer right now. I just wanted to share where my heart is with you right now. Can we talk about this next week? Can we set aside some time to check in and talk next week? And that can also help build trust by showing that you respect the process. Because again, if you start off with this one and done conversation, that's a lot for your spouse to take in. That's a lot for them to absorb all at once. So this isn't just about managing a difficult conversation, guys. That's not what this is about. This is about transforming the very foundation of your relationship from one that is based on shared goals to one that is based on shared growth. Goals are something that you can obtain, you can check off your list, but growth is something more exponential. This is a work of a lifetime, and it starts with you being honest and having a loving conversation. And listen, guys, I would love to hear your thoughts and I know you're not alone in this, because this can be a very scary, messy work of building a life of meaning and purpose. But the key is to be patient with yourself and be patient with your loved ones. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. What do you think about the conversation script I gave you, making sure that it is one that is anchored in safety, being specific instead of vague, stating it as a we problem, and releasing the outcome? Let me know your thoughts. And if you have other ways or suggestions on how to have a difficult conversation like this, especially when you are ready for a change and your spouse may not be, I would love to hear from you. Head on over to workitliveitownit.com if you're listening to this podcast and leave me a message or leave me a comment below down in YouTube. I'd love to hear from you. Well, until next time, guys, be kind to yourself and continue to work it, live it, own it in your everyday lives. Take care.